May I now call upon the next speaker, Mrs. Godet, Employers Delegate, Bahamas, to come to the podium to address the conference. I also request our next speaker, Mr. Oda, Workers Delegate, Belarus, to be ready to come immediately afterwards. Mrs. Godet, you have the floor.
Madam Chair, fellow delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation, and of course, the entire Commonwealth of the Bahamas commends the work of this House and commemorates also the occasion of its centenary. Our tiny archipelagic nation is no stranger to the work of the ILO and was the first in its region to sign the Protocol on Decent Work. Therefore, I am happy to share with you just a few of our accomplishments. On 3rd March 2015, the National Tripartite Council, comprised of the social partners, was enacted to practice and promote tripartism in the Bahamas through cooperation, consultation, negotiation, and compromise in order to create and shape social and economic policies and to advise the government on all aspects of labor, productivity, quality, and competition. I am pleased to say, Madam Chair, without fear of contradiction, that through the work of the National Tripartite Council, we have accomplished much. To name a few, the national minimum wage was increased significantly. Legislation requiring the advance notice to the Minister of Labour of all redundancies with penalty for non-compliance was enacted. A dispute resolution protocol within the National Tripartite Council was established, which to date has resulted in the registration of 2 collective bargaining agreements and the resolution of many outstanding disputes between union and management. A new information management system geared towards strengthening the Bahamas' Department of Labor's capacity, job placement, and workflow processes was implemented, and a first-class apprenticeship program for 16 to 40-year-old individuals, as well as ongoing skills for work training sessions focused on closing the skills gap and promoting employment opportunities for youth, was implemented in partnership with the Inter-American Development Bank. Despite our successes to date, we know that there is still much work to be done, and the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation is fully committed to and actively engaged in the National Tripartite Council's aggressive 3-year agenda, which is absolutely in line with United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and the future of work. Such efforts include the establishment of a National Productivity Council, the implementation of a National Workers' Pension Plan, movement toward making the rulings of the Bahamas Industrial Tribunal enforceable, and regional training on the ILO's Maritime Labour Convention 2006. The Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation also expresses its gratitude for the assistance rendered by the ILO Latin America and Caribbean Office. It was this office, together with the IOE, that aided in the successful merger of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce with the Bahamas Employers Confederation, that provided guidance and information in our Minimum Wage Act and Employment Act discussions, and most recently, as part of its centenary celebrations, assisted with the completion of the Bahamas' Decent Work Country Report 2019. Indeed, we look forward to their continued collaboration as we venture now into discussions into the establishment of a national child labour policy and the generation of decent work country programs too. As active participants in the National Tripartite Council, the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation readily acknowledges that there will always be ripe opportunity for opposing positions at the table, and even within our own house at times there exist problematic constituents. This cannot deter us. But we must keep our eyes on the prize of what it is that we wish to accomplish for our enlarged community. Indeed, it was hotelier extraordinaire, Mr. J. Barry Farrington, who acquainted me with the words of the late great U.S. President John F. Kennedy, who said, "So let us begin anew, remembering on both sides that civility is not a sign of weakness, and sincerity is always subject to proof. Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. Let both sides explore what problems unite us instead of belaboring those problems which divide. In times of conflict and in times of challenge, I am also strengthened by the resolve of my late father, Japheth Edison Delaveau, who always advised, and I leave with these words to my fellow delegates: it is never a matter of who is right, but what is right. Taking personal interests out of the equation usually results in win-win, which is the ultimate goal in all negotiations. And it is the fervent endeavor of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much.